how much preparation you want to do. It just comes down to an individual's risk tolerance and knowing how much it's going to cost you and how much time it's going to take to do the preparation work. So if we're trying to do a good job of securing a hair shop and not spend a ton of time or money, this is the game plan.
Yeah.
One of the things I try to do on any boat is utilize the lines that exist on the boat, so we're not having to bring extra lines to and from the boat every time there's a storm. So on the hair shop, one of the lines I like to utilize is the jib sheets. So I'll take the jib completely off the boat and put it inside the cockpit, but we're going to use the jib sheets to tie the mainsail down. It takes a lot of time to take a hair shop mainsail on and off, so we're going to try to avoid doing that unless we know it's going to be a really bad storm. The best way to do that is to actually keep the canvas on, and it keeps the whole mainsail contained, and then we're going to lash the canvas down with an extra line. So it's really easy to take a hair shop jib off the boat, so we'll do that and put it in the cockpit. There's clear space on the deck too for your backup line to affect anything. On a hair shop, one of the most important things to secure is the main by dropping it down onto the transom. The support crutch is not very secure, and if it gets windy, it likes to come off. So it's really good to have a cushion. We're going to start by letting the main sheet go a bit. We want to take the cushion and loop a handle onto the tiller. That way it can't fall off. And then the last step is to pull the main sheet tight so that it snugs down, cinches the cushion in place. So to lash it, you keep passing back under the original line.
Like a running stitch and sewing.
Yep. Well, if everybody has a dock line in their boat, you should have this first off just as a tow line. But this is what we're going to use as a backup to the mooring in case something chafes on the primary pendant. With the backup line, we want to go around a second point on the boat, not the same place the first pendant's tied off to. So that if for some reason it ripped out of the boat, you've got a second point of attachment. Alright, so we've got it dog tagged right to the shackle on the ball.
Got it.
Want to come through a fair lead. And what I try to do is leave a little bit of slack in this line because I want to be able to look from a ways away and tell if this line has become tensioned. That way I know something's gone wrong with the primary line. You just make this off with a bowline and you want a lot of tail because you don't want this shaking out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice and slack, so we know if that slack is still there, we're still on our primary. If it pulls tight, we're in trouble. And then I always just step back or get in another boat and look back at the boat and look at the whole thing and make sure nothing looks loose and out of place. Alright, so lashing the main down is going to be the same process as we did on a hair shop. You just need to find a spare line on the boat to do it. A good one to use on a J70 could be the Vang, or really anything extra, an extra dock line that works well. One of the big differences though is we're not going to drop the boom to the deck. We're going to leave it suspended, and we're going to make sure that the main sheet is pulled really good and tight And we're gonna offset the traveler all the way to one side so that we created a triangle to pin it and swing it. And then I put a backup knot in here so that even if it comes uncleated, we're still gonna have something keeping it from easing out and starting to flap around wildly. So one of the things that's going to go wrong on a J70 first is the canvas or the jib is going to break free. So the best thing to do is take the canvas off, and then we need an extra line to secure it around the jib to keep it from unfurling. It takes a good amount of work to drop the jib and pull the battens, so unless you know it's going to be really bad, you probably want to avoid that step. So a good line that exists on the boat for tying it up is the secondary for the main halyard. So this is the 2-to-1 line. So we'll steal that from the cleat to use to tie the jib up. You can also use a sail tie if you have an extra sail tie on the boat. Alright, so the first thing we want to check is to make sure that the jib is actually furled well, which in this case it isn't. It's very loose and prone to catching a lot of wind. So we're going to fix that for starters. So with the jib furled tightly, then you want to really tension the jib sheets. Get the tension on both sides, and now you can look and it's a lot tighter than it was. And then we want to take the backup line, and we want to just wrap right around the first point it would come undone. So I'm doing nothing fancy here other than eating up a bunch of line. And then we're going to tie a square knot. And then I always put a stopper knot as a hitch on either side of the square knot so that it can't shake out. Alright, now that jib is pretty secure and can handle a good amount of wind. Same idea as the hair shaft. We want a little bit of slack in the line so we know which one is working, and we want to go around the mast in a spot that isn't going to get caught up on any hardware. We're going to make it off of the bowl and the blotted tail.